Today we will be discussing chapter number 9, which is flow of control, which include the conditional and iterative statements. The topics which we are going to cover it up in this particular chapters are obviously the introduction about the chapter, then the type of statements in Python. We'll also be discussing about the statement flow of control, how exactly the statements gets executed in Python. Uh, we'll be talking about the programming logic tools, the if statements, all the type of if statements available in Python, and some program based on if statements. Now let's understand the types of statements in Python. First of all, we just need to understand, the Python statement, what or any statement to talk about in any programming language, any statement which specify any line which has a meaning is a statement in Python, whether it's comments or any executable code. That is a statement in Python or any programming language. We have got three types of statements in Python. One is empty statement, one is simple statement, and one is compound statement. We'll be studying these statements in details. Empty statements, as the name suggests, as the name suggests, each pass statement simply does nothing. So the pass statement in Python is used when a statement is required syntactically, but you do not want any command or code to execute. Okay, so we simply specify pass there. That means the condition is there, but you don't want any statement to write down over there to execute, and you simply say pass. So this concept is known as empty statements. For example, n1 equal to this one. If I say n is the next one is a simple statement. N1 equal to int input enter any number. So this is again a kind of a statement. Okay, a simple statement. Any single executable statement is a simple statement in Python. We'll be talking about the compound statement. All simple statement or the statements which are clubbed to perform a particular task. They are known as compound statement. For example, these statements are simply asking you to enter two numbers, and accordingly, they are working on to find out the addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. So all statements are combined all together. So that's why these statements are nothing but the compound statements. The next one is statements flow control. A statement flow control means how statement gets executed. Okay, the first one is a sequence, then the selection, and then the iteration. So these are three ways how the statements gets executed. Okay, or the three ways of statements flow of control. The first one is sequence. For example, we have got this particular program. These are the comments, right? They are just specified to improvise the readability of the program, and we have certain compound statement which gets executed one by one. So first of all, this statement will get executed, then this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, this one, this one, and this one. So basically, these statements are specified in such a manner that they get executed one by one. Okay, or they gets executed in a sequence, and that's why these are known as the sequential statements or sequential flow control. The next one is so that's the way how basically it executes. It accepts input, then process, and then output the results. So sequentially it executes the concept like that. The next one is your selection statement. In this case, you select statement to execute. For example, we have got certain condition. If this condition is true, it will simply execute, this part of statement. And if it is false, it will simply execute this part of statement. And if you have certain more statements, to execute after, executing either this one or this one, it execute, this part of statement. So these are known as selection statement because we select statement to execute based on the conditions specified. The next one is called the iteration statements. Okay, the iterative statements means you execute the statement repeatedly based on a certain condition. For example, you have certain statements, then you specify a condition, And if the condition is true, you do something here, right? And then one more time after this, it again goes here and check the condition. If the condition is still true, it will come again and execute the statement. It will keep on doing like that until the condition does not become false. Okay, so this is iteration. It repeatedly execute the statements based on the conditions based on the conditions specified. Okay, until the condition is true, it will keep on executing those statements. And these type of statements are known as iterative statements. Now, programming logic development tool, we have got algorithm, right? Flowchart. Algorithms are commonly written in in methods. What exactly algorithm is? It's a step-by-step procedure to solve a given problem. For that, we have got three basic techniques. One is flowchart, one is pseudocode, and one is decision trees. This is an example of your flowchart in which you have certain symbols. You use these symbols, to solve a particular problem. For example, this is a simple flow chart to add two numbers. You start with the concept, right? Then you ask, you declare two variables, three variables, a, b, and sum. Then you read two numbers. Then you add two numbers and assign the result into sum. You display the sum and stop. This is a simple flow chart to add two numbers, right? Then we have got pseudocode. For example, you just want to make a cup of tea. So what exactly you do in that, right? You organize everything together. You plug the kettle. You plug in kettle. You put tea bag in cup. Then put water into kettle, right? Then wait for the kettle to boil. Then add water to cup. Remove tea bag with a spoon or fork, and then add milk and or sugar and then serve. That's a pseudocode, right? Similarly, to add two numbers, the pseudocode will be you start, you ask two number to enter, you add two numbers and ask, and assign the sum into a third variable. You display the third variable, and that is all about, to find out the sum of two numbers. So these are pseudocode, how you think logically to solve a problem. This is one of the method for that. And then decision tree. It is basically based on a condition, like I just wanted to find out the smallest among three numbers. So first of all, I'll go with the two numbers. If a is less than b, so if a is less than b, that means a is lesser. And if a is less than c, that means the a is the smallest one. And if it is not, that means the c is the smallest one, right? So similarly, if a is less than b is not true, that means B is smallest. So B will be compared to the C. If B is less than C, then B is the smallest, and if it is not, then C is the smallest. So you specify certain condition, and why we talk about it's a tree, because it is a kind of inverted tree sort of concept. If you can see here, this is a root, and these are the branches. This is the root, and these are the branches, and this is a kind of inverted tree sort of concept. That's why it's known as decision tree. Then if statement, uh, you know in any programming language, we execute certain statement based on condition, right? And for that, we have got a keyword called if. For example, we have been given this a syntax: if any condition, if it is true, it will execute this part of statement, right? Write a program to enter a percentage of a student and check whether the student is pass. It's not talking about you just need to specify pass or fail, right? It's saying simply whether the student is pass. You just need to enter the number, enter the percentage, then check whether if the percentage is greater than or equal to 33, then you pass. Otherwise, nothing. This is simple if I'm talking about, right? Because sometimes you feel that this if statement is incomplete, and that's why you club that with the else keyword as well, right? So in this case, it will simply say, write a program to enter a number and check whether the student is pass or fail. So if the condition is true, which you have specified here, if it is true, it will say it's pass. If it is not true, it will simply say fail. So the syntax is of if else statement is something like this. If you specify a condition, if it is true, it will execute this part, else it will execute this part. And moving on to the program based on if else statement, right? For example, it's simply asking you to enter two numbers and check whether the first is greater than or not, greater than second or not. You ask two number to enter. You check if the value of n1 is greater than n2. If it is true, it will say n1 is greater than n2. Otherwise, it will simply say n1 is not greater than n2. So these are some, programs. Similarly, you can have some more programs based on if else conditions.